Jack. Jack was hungry. That was the trouble with the orphanage. There were just too many mouths and never enough to fill them all. The older children and their gang of sycophants generally did all right. It was the young and the weak that went hungry. Jack was not young, but he was seen as weak, so he was always hungry, or bruised from his encounters with the bigger children, who were the only well-fed ones among the inmates. Jack did have an advantage, though. He had been befriended by Mrs. Grimble, the cook's assistant. She had a soft spot for the lad. "My Edgar was like you," she would say, as she smuggled him a treat, a biscuit rich with honey, or a fruited bun from Mr. Templestone's own table. "He went away with the army and never came back. Lost in some foreign land he was, and buried there." Jack was not really interested in the tale. Men died, that was the way it was. Whether in London with its foul air and smoke, or in a foreign land, it was all the same in the end. Although if you had to be dead, being dead in a foreign land had its attractions. At least you would have lived in bright sunshine and clean air for a while, and you were generally well fed in the army. Jack's stomach rumbled again, and he sneaked away from the common room towards the kitchen. At this time of day Mrs. Grimble would be alone, and there was more chance of a treat. When he got to the doorway and peered round it, Mrs. Grimble was absent. She must have gone home already, Jack thought. He ventured into the room, his hunger a real thing now. Perhaps some comestibles had been left out, and he could snatch a mouthful or two. In the corner of the kitchen there was a large coal-fired range. At least it was usually in the corner. Now it seemed to be moved into the middle of the room. There was a dark hole in the wall behind it. Jack crept towards the hole, expecting all the time to hear a shout. He was poised to run and dodge a blow from a master's cane. Reaching the hole, he saw the start of a flight of stone steps leading down. They were poorly lit by flickering gas lamps. There were voices below, faint and indistinct. As he tentatively put his foot on the top step, he kicked a solid object. It made a scraping noise as his foot moved it across the flags. The noise below stopped. Jack bent down. There were a pair of boots on the ground. Stout boots with hobnailed soles, better than his boots, which in truth were more hole than sole. He tried them on. Below him the muttering resumed. The boots fitted him perfectly, and as he laced them he felt their robust construction and over-thick soles. There was a hard place in each boot, a lump by his little toe, like a stone. Apart from that, they were perfect. He had no qualms about taking them. As long as no one saw him, he was more worried about how he could hide them from the attentions of the others in his dormitory, especially Alias, who was the biggest and worst of the bullies. His attention had been distracted by the boots, and the hand on his shoulder was totally unexpected. He tried to duck and spin, but the boots let him down. Sparks flew from their nails as they slipped on the flags, and his feet skidded for purchase. His balance lost, he fell. He bounced off each step on the way down, landing in a bruised heap at the foot of the stairs. He made to get up, but found himself held from behind. He struggled, but whoever was holding him was strong, and pinned his arms against his sides with ease. He saw the feet of a man coming down the stairs, then his waist, and then, just as he was about to see the face, a cloth bag was thrown over his head, and a hand was clamped over his mouth. "What shall we do with this one?" said a gruff voice. "That's Jack," answered Mrs. Grimble, in a voice which was hers, and yet was not hers. "He's the one that I told you about." A third voice, coming from a distance, joined in the conversation. "He's all skin and bone. What good would he be?" it asked. Jack tried to speak through the folds of cloth and the hand. "I'm strong, let me go," he shouted, but all the three heard was bull, 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 bull. "He seems to have found the boots," the first man said, "and they fit him." "They ought," said Mrs. Grimble. "Alias stole his others to make a pattern." What was going on? Jack's boots had gone missing a week ago. He wondered who had taken them. He looked at all the other boys, expecting to see them on another's feet. He had to walk barefoot for a day and a half, cutting his feet badly on the rough cobbles of the yard, and then his boots had reappeared, and no one could explain it. How could Mrs. Grimble, old silly Mrs. Grimble, be involved in plots and plans like this? And Alias, he was Jack's chief tormentor. What was his part? "Let him go, Langdon," ordered the voice in the distance, and the hand and the bag were removed, as were the arms. Jack turned around and blinked. He was in a richly decorated drawing room, lit by many gas lamps. There was a carpet on the floor, whitewashed walls, and fine mahogany furniture. Mrs. Grimble stood before him. "Hello, Jack," she said. "I see you've found us, then. I expect you'd like to know what's going on."